I don't know, how did that happen? It's cold and windy. Who starts a fire there? Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Two Wheel Quest. Discover the world with me. Wow. We were passing by, we're still in the Cairngorms, and then we saw this burning. What is that, peat? I don't know, but is it a wildfire? Well, you can't see too good because the sun is now facing down on me. So it's the setting sun, that is obviously the west. Wonder what that is. It's quite a sight though. Good morning from the Benmore Hotel at the small town called Grandtown on Spey at the edge of the Cairngorm National Park. We're starting out from here, and this morning it's 4 degrees centigrade. It's around 8:30 in the morning, but sunny. So we think it's going to get better. The forecast says that it'll get to about 15 degrees by the time we get to 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. So that's pretty good news, and we're really looking forward to that. It's not bright sun at the moment, but it's kind of diffuse sunlight, but I don't see any clouds, so it's fine. We're actually heading towards Inverness. So we're about 40 miles away from Inverness, and what we're planning to do is go to Inverness and go and first find a pair of gloves that somebody recommended yesterday. It's a rubberized worker gloves, which he says is very, very good and waterproof. He claims that it can go down to 0 degrees centigrade. Even in cold water you can dip it in and not feel a thing. So we're going to find that first. It's only £8 at a toolkit shop where it sells tools. So we're going to go into Inverness. We found one of those stores there. It seems to be a chain. So we found that store, and we're heading for that particular store first thing today. And once we get those gloves, then even if the temperature drops down and the wind picks up, it doesn't matter. The hands remain reasonably warm. Experience so far is that even in very, very cold weather, like 2 degrees or 3 degrees, when we start early morning, it doesn't matter for the chest and the upper body and the lower body, because we have the right gear for it. But the gloves are the only problem, and those are your fingertips are the ones that start freezing out. So we are hoping that this would solve that problem. So on towards Inverness. I'm riding up to Inverness, and I've, as usual, stepped off the motorway. The A9, they call it the old military road, and I was talking to somebody about it. It turns out that it was built by the English to move troops into Scotland in a hurry in case they need to put down any rebellions after the war between England and Scotland. I don't have a pin lock, so your view is probably better than mine, because my visor is beginning to fog up a bit. I don't know why I didn't get the pin lock. For those of you who've been using these helmets, you know what a pin lock is. It's just a kind of another layer between the visor and yourself. It will stop the visor from getting foggy in conditions like these, especially when it's raining and your breath tends to fog things up and it's cold on the outside. But I just crack my visor a little bit to make sure that my visor doesn't fog up. It's not as sunny as it was when we started, and we hope that is not a sign of bad things to come. Hopefully not. But still, it's great riding, and although it's only 9 o'clock, it's still around 6 degrees, and it hasn't warmed up yet. So the hands or the fingers are taking a bit of a beating. But it's still good fun. How can it not be? Look at the countryside. We've reached Inverness, the city. Now we are heading for the shop that's selling the gloves that we're looking for. What was interesting was when we came in, we found that there's also the Loch Ness Monster Museum and Visitor Center. So we thought we'd stay put and see the Loch Ness Monster also. I've heard a lot about that story when I was quite young. I've read something about it. So this is Inverness. We're just reaching the tool station in Inverness. This is where we're going to find our gloves. I'm hoping it is here. Cheap gloves to solve our problem of cold fingers. It's already freezing and it's around 9:30, but the sun hasn't come out. So the earlier we buy this, the better it is. Well, right now we found this one here called Thermotight. It's waterproof and meant for cold weather, water related working. Thermal lining for cold weather working. But the ones that we saw with the guy yesterday were, I think, better than these. So the gentleman here suggested that we go just down the street. There's a place called McGregor's where we might get that. So we're going to try for that first. If we don't find that, we'll probably come back and get this. So on to McGregor's. Turns out that Fergus is also a rider, so he knows riding clothes far better than I do.
Don't know about that.
So we finally found this, and for $5.99, we are hoping it will do the job.
There's got to be VAT put on them as well.
I'm sorry?
There's got to be VAT put on these as well.
Okay, so there's
So
VAT.
it'll be $6.74.
Okay, right. So including VAT, it's $6.74. Maybe we'll get a VAT refund when we leave England. I'll take my £1 back.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, as with everything, the moment you get what you want, immediately the problem solves itself. So let me put this one away and try my new gloves. All we want is waterproofing and warmth. I don't know whether we can get both from the same one. Of course, protection as well, but that's the problem. So protection will be missing on this one because it's not meant for that kind of it's not meant for riding. This doesn't have the full gauntlet feature that comes with the other gloves, because that, when you have the gauntlet coming over the sleeve, it keeps the wind from cutting into your or going up your arms into the jacket. But one good thing I see is that I can use this for my GoPro control a lot better. I was struggling with the other gloves because of the GoPro switching it on and off. I think, yeah, my camera switch on off will be easier with this. Now we are headed towards the Loch Ness Monster Visitor Center. We will see the Loch Ness, which is the Lake Ness, and we will see what they talk about with reference to the Nessie, or the house the Loch Ness Monster is popularly called. The Nessie story goes back quite a way. I remember reading about it when I was a child. The story goes that there's this monster inside Loch Ness, and she's a very fearsome creature, a serpentine kind of a creature that people claim to have seen and some claim to have photographed. So they're very blurry images of something that looks like a snake's neck popping out of the water. Very thick and very frightening. And I wonder whether this was done by people to keep visitors away from the Loch Ness, or to do something illegal or something of that nature. We're now headed on the A82 towards Fort William. The Loch Ness Trail, see that, follow A82. Loch Ness Clansman Hotel. Okay, Loch Nessie, here we come. The Loch Ness Center exhibition, which tells a story of the so-called Loch Ness Monster. It's quite an interesting place if you have the time. The story goes that the monster may have been some prehistoric animal that survived the ice age and then was because it was down inside the loch. And so all the investigations that were done, all the legends, all the photographs and illusions that people saw. So this generally takes you through that journey. I'm going to just sit down next to it and then find myself something to eat and a nice cup of coffee. More on the gloves. I've ridden 15 miles now. I think it's another one of my life's mistakes. Didn't really do as well as I thought it would. I think the idea is a workman's glove, so you have to keep flexing your hands. It's not meant to be just sitting there, just exposed to the cold and the wind all the time. It doesn't do much for the hands if it's just sitting there and allows the wind to penetrate. So that's all. And here is a famous Loch Ness, home of the Loch Ness monster, also called by its popular name Nessie. This is about 14 miles from Inverness. We just came up here to see the Loch Ness Visitor Centre, the Nessie Loch Ness Monsters exhibition. But we didn't go in because it is not something that I like to spend time on. We have a long ride ahead. The riding, because of the weather, is really good. I put my gloves back on because the other one was most of a waste of time. Everything around here is around the monster. The hotels and the cafes and all are named after that. We are back in Inverness. You can see that the NC 500. So that's the route, the North Coast 500. That's the one we're going to take. And it's clearly marked and signposted everywhere. So just follow that routing. Sometimes your map might lead you all over the place. It might sometimes take you on the wrong route as well, because you're just going to put waypoints and that's not going to take you on the right road. So the best thing is to map for the NC 500 and then follow that map. This is the North Sea. There, right up there, you can see snow-covered mountains. So we're in the Highlands now. Officially, we're in the Scottish Highlands. We passed a lot of motorcyclists. There seems to be a favorite of motorcyclists. Good to be on the NC 500. Little late after our fiasco with the gloves and our date with Nessie, but better late than never. And what exactly is this?
I might tell you after.
After I finish with it.